Hello everyone, welcome back to my AK coding channel and the viewers of the Udemy. I'm happy to continue with teaching JavaScript, and today we are going to learn about most needed themes and most needed things we need to learn in JavaScript, and we need to cover it. If you're ready, let's get started. Okay, we're going to talk about first about what are variables. First of all, in the first lesson we have talked about what is JavaScript, when it was released, and for what we are going to learn and for what we are going to use the JavaScript, and what actually JavaScript is. We learned about them. So if you haven't watched the video, please go to the playlist and watch the first video first. Okay, so what are variables? A variable is a container for storing data in JavaScript. It holds values that can change or reassigned during the program execution. So actually, in order to understand what are variables, we can take a simple example. As it's mentioned in the definition, variable is a container. So we can take a container that stores data. Data can be items. So for example, in real life, you have a box and you wanted to store something inside of your box. So the box is equal to a variable, and the thing that you are going to store is data. So it means it helps to us to save our data in the variables, and it holds the values, and that values, which are the datas, values means datas, can be changed or be reassigned during the program execution. So what does it mean, like can be reassigned during program execution? So if you declare a variable and if you store something inside of the data, for example, it can be something, yeah, you can change it to another thing, or you can reassign that thing with another thing. So how can we declare variables in JavaScript actually? As you can see here, in JavaScript, variables can be declared using var, lat, and const. What are these three words actually? Var is an older function scope which allows for redeclaration, and it stores the values inside of our it stores the values with the data, with the items actually. And what is lat? So these three words are the same variable names, which we use in JavaScript as a key. Lat is a modern and block scoped and allows reassignment to this one. So the differences between var and lat, if we compare them, lat is much more modern, and it was released in ES6. What is ES6 actually? ES6 is ECMAScript 6, which is JavaScript. And it is differences, as you can see, var is function scope, but the lat is block scoped one. And both of them allows to reassign the data to another one. And the last one is const, which stands for constant. It's also block scoped as like lat, but the difference between them is if we use a const, we cannot reassign it value or data. So let's learn more about how we can use in real life in our JavaScript. So let's go back to our Visual Studio Code, and in the previous lesson we used these two files, and we're going to continue with these two files. So let's open first of all our live server, our HTML. So we have already opened our HTML, so it's coming now. Until it comes, okay, we have now, and we have to open the console in order to see our codes and what we are coding actually, right? So let's remove this. I think it is appearing well. I will make it a bit bigger. So let's go to our JavaScript. We don't need HTML for now, and we wanted to save something here. So let's write down var. I wanted to save something, right? So in order to save this, I need to give a name for that. So I need to declare a variable. So we have a box, and you have 100 boxes, right? And you have to give a name each of them differently. So if you give the same, you cannot differentiate them. So we have to give each of our variables unique names. So before continuing, let's go back to our slide and let's see the next slide before using variables. So we have data types in JavaScript. We have two different types of data types, which is primitive data types. So primitive data types we have in JavaScript 7. The first one is string, number, boolean, like null, undefined symbol, and big int. These 7 primitive data types are mostly used in JavaScript. What are actually data types? So the data which we are storing inside of our variable, there are their types. So type means you know what is it. So we have 7 data types, which is string, number, boolean, null, undefined symbol, and big int. So what is string, what is number, what is boolean? We are going to use in Visual Studio Code now, and we're going to see what are they. So before we continue, I have to give a name to my variable. So I can assign something. For example, I will write name. And with assignment operator, I have to give a value for that, right? And I will give with like quotes inside of our quotes, I will write John, for example. And as you can see, this is a John, which is a data which belongs to the variable name, and it is saving as the data type of the string. So we have to, in order to make it, so we need to comment first, comment, and then string. So this data type is string. How can we know this is string actually? So if our values are inside of 2 double quotes, or 1 double quotes, or this kind of quotes, they are called strings. The next thing is, which is number. So let's declare with let this time, and I'm going to write age, which is 25, and which is number. So as you can see, we are giving just a number, I mean digits, without any quotes. So this is called type. However, sometimes some new beginner developers cannot differentiate if the digits are inside of the string, like block quotes. So it means this is not a number actually. This is still string. So when you see this kind of tricky things, so you have to know this is a string. The next thing is boolean. What is boolean? Let's write down let, we'll give a name bool. In boolean, we have 2 types of booleans. The first type of boolean, not this actually type, it is actually the value. The first one is true, and the next one is false. So as you can see, I cannot save 2 values inside of our one variable. So 2 key values actually. These are not values, they are key values. So I will need to write true or false. So what they stand for? True means something is true. So we can use true and false statements in order to check something when we are writing our codes. We can give another bool with f, right? And then we can give false for that. So we have true and false. And the next one is null. What is null actually? Null is something that is not nothing inside. So for example, we have a box, right? We have a const, for example, right? We have a constant, and we have a name, and we have a box which is called, for example, box. And inside of our box there's nothing, so which is null. So null is something, but there's nothing inside. And the next one is undefined. We have undefined. Undefined means something that is not declared, or that is not given a value to the variable. So we can write variable, and we can give box2, right? And semicolon without any assignment. So this stands for an undefined. So let me write each of them the data types with the comments. And the last one is undefined. So the next one is symbol. This symbol and big int. These 2 data types we mostly use in some cases, but we don't use at all. So symbol is just a symbol which we declare as a string. For example, let symbol, and we give with 1 quote, and for example can be a. And this called is symbol. And the last one is big int. What is big int? So big int means an integer which is more than 16 digits. For example, we have a number and we are going to write a lot of digits. For example, this. So as you can see, we have more than 16 digits. So if it's more than 16 digits, that is called big int. So let's write down here big int. So as you can see, numeric literals with absolute values equals to 53, which is power of 52, power of the 53, or greater or too large to be represented accurately as integers, not numbers. So it's asking me, you can fix this, convert to big int numerical integer. And when I convert it, it's putting n, which stands for big int. So you learned what are the data types and how we can use and how we are storing actually. So now here declaring and using variables. There are some rules while giving a name to the variables, which are the names this. So use letters, digits, symbols, and like dashes or underscores cannot start with a number. So we cannot start this one with a number. So if I give it a number, it's saying variable declaration expected. An identifier keyword cannot immediately follow a numeric literal. So it means it's asking me to remove this. You cannot start with a number or with a digit. We have 2 types of, or 3 types of, ways giving a name. I think in the first lesson I also told, which is camel case, And the next one is snake case, and the next one is Pascal case. So camel case for variables names, which is, for example, if we have two letters, two words, like I want to give for example, number and integer, right? These are two words, so I need to write I in the capital letter, and the rest is in the small letter. And the first letter of the first word also should be with a small letter if you're using camel case. Avoid JavaScript reserved keywords. What does it mean? So while giving a name for the variables, you cannot use let or, for example, var, like reverse keywords, which are, for example, here return. Also we cannot use, because return is also a name which is a reserved keywords for in JavaScript. So strings and template literals. What are strings? So we learned what is string, and we know what is. So strings, which are text inside of a quotes, like one quotes or double quotes or this kind of signs, right? So not only text, actually, it can be anything. String manipulation methods. So we have template literals. So string manipulation is introduced in ES6, and string manipulation can be methods like we are going to use regarding the strings. So we are going to see some examples in the next slide. And what are template literals? Template literals also introduced in ES6, which we use backticks, and it allows multi-line strings and variable interpolation. So let's see some examples. So the left side of this code is for string manipulation. As you can see, we have a lat, which is the name is string, str, and inside we are saving a string which is called the text JavaScript. So if we are console log, right? If we write a console log and if we write string, I mean the name of the variable, and dot length, it gives the length of the text inside of the variable. So let's see in our Visual Studio Code. I want to take one thing. So let's go back. I want to see this strings length. So what I need to write here, console.log name.length. And if I write this, and let's see in the terminal, so let's wait a few seconds, I will write node app.js, and as you can see, it is returning 4. Because why? We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because we have 4 letters inside of it. The next one is converting to uppercase and lowercase method, which is a string manipulation too. So if I write this John like this, instead of name.length, if I write to uppercase, and if I rerun this, I think I wrote incorrectly. I'm sorry, I forgot to put this one because it's a method. So as you can see, John is reversed to the capital letters. And if I write lowercase, this one, to lowercase, so the first letter of the J, which is John, also will be in small letters. I mean, lowercase letters actually. And extracting substring. What is substring? Substring is a string that you are going to extract from the exact value to the exact another value. So for example, as you can see, we are giving from 0 to 4. So from 0 index to 4th index, it will be extracted as string. So let's write John, we have, right? And I'm going to write name.substring. Instead of it, substring, I can write, for example, 0, 2. And what will happen? So this actually should be with small letters. As you can see, we are getting J, which is 0, and O is 1, and H is 2. But we are not getting 2 because we are getting until 2, so which is JO. And the last one is replacing a text. We can replace a text. How? So we have John, right? And I can just remove this. I can write replace with method. I will write JO should be replaced TO, for example. And what will happen now? Let's see. As you can see, John is replaced to Tom, and we have to put this question mark. So these are string manipulations. The next thing is about this. So we have let name Alice, let age 25, and console log hello, my name is name. So as you can see here, we are using backticks, which are this, and we don't have any issues. So I already explained in my first video. So we have a type checking, using typeof to check the data types. So we have a type of method, we can check the data types. So I want to show them. So we have name, right? I will write here console.log and I will write here type of, and it should be brackets, and I will write any of them. So if I write age, we'll see number. Let me first save this, and as you can see, we are seeing number, right? And if I write number and, what we are seeing. So let's see. If I write number and, as you can see, it's giving big int, right? And if I write box2, we will see undefined. Surely, sure, we are seeing undefined. If I write box instead of box2, we will be seeing null. Yeah, I'm sorry, we'll be seeing object. Why we are not seeing null? Because null is an object while returning it. So we'll be learning more in the next videos about type of also. So I think for today it's enough, and I want to give an assignment to you. Write a JavaScript program that does following this. Declare 3 variables, which stands for name, age, and is student. So we can declare a student with boolean, true or false, and display the values using the console log. I hope you learned something new. If you're enjoying with my videos, please hit the subscribe button and share with your friends, and see you in the next videos.